Welcome back. Wake Up continues, of course, on your number one resource of great inspiration and information. We're WIDU 1600 AM, WIDU 99.7 FM, the entire We Do Radio Network, Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Do me a favor in the chat, comment with the hearts, the likes, the stars, all of that good stuff. And be sure to share live stream as well. Yep, this is a call-in talk show. The earlier you call in, the better talk time you get. 910-483-6111. We say the absolutely, positively very best for last. Yep, they're here, perfect attendance. Let us enjoy MP3 Radio Talk Show in the midst of WIDU's Wake Up and across the entire We Do Radio Network. They have great topics of talk lined up for us today, and they're keeping us in the know with stuff that we don't know about. You're going to hear it here first with MP3. Good morning, Pitts brothers. Love you, miss you bunch. Good to see you. I hope you all have been doing well. It's all on you. MP3, take it away.
Oh, thank you. Good morning, Tammy. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Yeah,
welcome
good
back.
morning. Yes, good morning.
As young people used to say back in the day, the number one stunners.
Yeah, number one stunner. That's right. It's way back. Yeah, it's great to hear your melodious voice, and you know, you speak facts, especially when you start talking about how great we are.
We always appreciate
it's wonderful to be here with you again.
Tammy, welcome back. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, he usually the one with the most to say.
Right. Welcome back. Well, I couldn't get in a word. Both of y'all guys had already said something.
Well, we want to thank everybody for tuning in to Marshall, Nigel, and Myron Trio Talk Radio. I want to thank our participating stations.
You threw off our intro.
Oh,
yeah,
I did.
threw off an intro. He set it up like he was going to go right into it.
I'm Marshall Pitts.
Module Pitts.
I'm Myron Pitts.
And we are
MP3.
We're just so excited to have Tammy back.
Anytime you throw him, like Hubert Davis, anytime you throw him a little curve in the game, he can't handle it. He can't coach his way through it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank our participating stations who helped make MP3 possible. Of course, that's 99.7 FM here in Fayetteville, where we broadcast from 98.5 FM out of Red Springs, North Carolina, 97.1 FM out of Lumberton, North Carolina, and of course, 92.5 FM out of Laurinburg, North Carolina. And as Tammy told you, if you want to call in and participate in our conversations, we always welcome that. The numbers to call in again, 910-483-6111. 910-483-6111. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Morning.
Everybody have a good week.
Yeah. A nice, pretty day outside.
You got your visitor tag on. You went to...
Oh, that's right. I went to Helen Ann, had my daughter who is 11. Wow, soon to be 11. Had field day. Yeah, so we had a good time out there. So me and Sarah went out there. Yeah, they still have that. Now they don't do the things we used to do, like the sack race and three-legged race and wheelbarrow.
Now, what do they do?
Is that different from the presidential physical fitness day we used to have?
It is different. It is different. But they just have nice stations set up for...
They don't do physical fitness awards?
No, I don't think they do that anymore, yeah. One thing that does remain from when I went to school was they have the parachute, the big parachute where did y'all do that? That may have been after y'all time.
No idea what
you
you're
actually, you make it flow out, then all the kids sit under the chute, so you're like in like a little tent or something. So they still do that game, but great time.
Okay. Parachute in the tent. Okay.
Never heard of it.
Never, me either. So,
yeah, you guys are a little bit older, so that may have come in after you.
Yeah, at that point they said, let's get rid of some of these ridiculous games.
That's right.
But anyway, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And so, Myron, what do we have as a lineup
Yeah, okay,
today?
we're going to talk a little bit about the NCAAs and what happened last night with UNC, and then the broader topic of what are we in the Carolina Faithful going to do with Hubert Davis? Is he on a short time frame? Then we're going to talk about a Baltimore pastor who's calling for justice and reparations. He came through North Carolina
doing a lot of walking.
Yeah, the Reverend Dr. Robert Turner. He did a 40-mile march for justice. and he walked to the Capitol, right? Is that so? To the journey to the state Capitol and around
Warren County to the Capitol.
That's right. Just to call attention to all the things that have been going on. And mind you marveled before the show that he didn't really do any training for it. He just went out there and did it. So
yeah,
we'll talk
he said
about
he
that.
didn't start off walking the half marathons and marathons. He just
started
decided
walking.
one day he was going to start walking, and he did, which is
40 miles is not. It's longer than a marathon.
I admire him, but that's also dangerous. That's dangerous health-wise.
Okay, so we're going to talk about a woman in Georgia, 31-year-old, who is the first woman that's been charged with murder for having an abortion, taking pills to induce an illegal abortion in the state of Georgia, which back in 2019 they passed a law banning most abortions. She is a woman of
Marshall's home state.
Yeah, both of you guys. But you know, first, and she does happen to be African American, so we'll talk about, you know, why her, why not others, why is anybody being prosecuted for this? We can talk about that. Lastly, Iran, of course, is going to be in the news for a while. This week, it escalated. It escalated with a bombing of a key oil field in Iran, which led that country to attack its neighbors. And so, of course, from our perspective in America, that means high gas prices with no relief anywhere in the future. So, all right, now, did you guys see the game?
Yeah.
Okay, and the game. Of course, there are a couple of games tonight.
Let me take it back. When I fell asleep, they were up by 19.
Yeah.
So I figured the game was over with.
Yeah.
When
We're talking UNC,
up,
who was playing... who even were we playing? Virginia Commonwealth, VCU.
VCU.
Yeah.
And so when I woke up, they had
11
lost.
seed.
11th seed, UNC's a 6th seed.
When I woke up, they had lost in overtime.
Yeah.
And I woke up to your text
That had to
message.
be very jarring.
To your text message saying Hubert. That's only one word. So I knew something was bad.
I think that said it all.
I didn't know what, but I knew something was bad.
That said
and
it
then
all.
then I called one of my boys, a cat named Kelvin Wallace, and Wallace says, "Man, can you believe that?" He said, "You didn't see that?" I said, "No, I didn't see it." And then we started texting
I
back
haven't
and forth.
seen. It felt like an historic meltdown. UNC, as you point out, they did lead at 19 points in the second half, and it turns out it was a historic meltdown.
Yeah, no one's ever lost.
No one's ever came back that much on the team in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
So in NCAA, it's since the modern 64-team bracket. So
That's not the kind of history you want to make as a coach.
no, it's not the kind of history you want to make
for Carolina. VCU was fine with that.
Yeah. And then they also, another stat from the, speaking of the 64-team tournament, when they expanded it years ago, Carolina has played in that tournament 50 times. Only twice have they exited first round.
Both of them under Hubert.
Both of them under Hubert Davis. So that's not what you want in your stat book either.
Yeah, and his responses to the media is not good either. I mean, he's not really
Which is rare for him.
Which is not real. He's not giving a definitive statement on what happened or what his take is on.
He doesn't know what happened.
That's what I can tell you.
That's what scares everybody. That's what scares those Tar Heel faithful. Yeah.
But I can tell you one thing. One of his response that he put out there about, sometimes the ball just doesn't go in.
Yeah.
That won't cut it.
That won't cut it.
True, but that don't cut it.
There's lots he said that didn't cut it. So one of the big criticisms of him, and I know about the peanut gallery, and we're not out there doing what he's trying to do. I know about the pressure. But one thing that was obvious to all of us watching the game, and was obvious to VCU because they made some adjustments based on this, is that Carolina was just wore out toward the end. Vessar, our big man, Seth Trimble, the engine who kind of keeps things going, both of them are just worn out. He played them the whole game. And so people were like, why not give these guys, because Vessar is the kind of player who is all over the place all the time. The announcers kept commenting on how offense and defense, he already had a role. A player like that is going to get tired at a certain point. And that's exactly what happened. Sarah noticed, my wife noticed, that he was start walking up the court. Right. That's a good sign that your player needs to rest. But kept him in. And then they made a lot of mistakes down the stretch.
And
5 turnovers down the stretch. And they had previously, remember, I sent you a text on this too. I was like, they only turned the ball over once at the time I sent you that text. And then they turned it over 5 in like 2 or 3 minutes.
That's a fatigue thing, definitely fatigue.
Yeah.
But, in contrast, VCU, the guy that really put Carolina away is a guy coming off the bench.
Sure is.
So they were doing some substitutions.
So I never really understood major college basketball. Duke does that too, where they will play 6, 7.
The whole game.
Rotation.
Yeah, rotation of 6 or 7 players, maybe 8 sometimes every now and then. So, and I always wondered about that because everyone on Duke's bench and everyone on Carolina's bench nothing can play. They're McDonald's All-American. They're all Americans.
You're talking 3 to 5 stars. Everyone on the team.
Yeah, we're talking about Mr. Basketball from somewhere. They're Mr. Basketball from whatever state they're from.
Right.
So you got to know if they were recruited by Carolina or Duke or any of the major schools like that, then they can play some basketball. Certainly, they can give someone a chance to get a breather.
A few minutes, yeah.
Even if they didn't live up to the expectations that you expect them to live up to, they can give, what's the big guy's name? Did you just name?
Vessar, yeah.
You can give Vessar 2-3 minutes.
2 or 3 minutes break. That's all he needed.
If you can't give a guy 2 or 3 minutes, he can't be on Carolina and Duke's team. So that's why it lets me know that it must be coaching.
Yeah. Yeah,
that must be a coaching.
It was a coaching decision. And so, speaking of that, like Marshall talked about the press conference, I think there are several things in the press conference that won't fly. Not with hardcore UNC or just even casual UNC. He said something about. They asked him about the fatigue factor. Do you think that? And he says he didn't see him as tired.
What?
He claims he didn't see that. And then they asked him about just the rotation, the tight rotations you were talking about. 6-player rotation means there's 6 players you're using. So he had a 6-person rotation. A reporter asked him, what was the reasoning or whatever. I can't remember the phrasing, why he chose that. And he said, it was my decision.
Okay.
That's the end of it. We know it's your decision. We're asking you why you made that decision. So, that was a little out of character for him, and that kind of let me know he understands the magnitude of that loss.
And, he understands. He was frustrated.
Yeah.
Last night when I saw the highlights, he was frustrated. I saw him really kind of getting on a couple of players during the game, and
also not Hubert-like.
So he understood that this was, that. Listen, Hubert Davis graduated from North Carolina.
That's right. Yeah.
So
great player.
Great player.
His jersey's up there in the rafters.
Much better player than coach. So
yes.
So my thing is he understands the magnitude of the situation, but he also wants to win because he's a Carolina grad.
Right.
He's not somebody who came in from somewhere else.
That's true.
To coach this team.
Yeah. Right. He wanted to win just as bad if he was in the stand.
Right, and his livelihood kind of depends on that. And
it depends.
Yeah, it depends on that. Yeah. But he understands how difficult that it is to. And that's what makes the tournament so great. You have to be able to survive. By contrast, Duke were able to survive a team that outplayed them yesterday.
Yeah.
Siena outplayed Duke.
They sure
and
did.
led for 3/4 of the game, including the 11-point halftime lead.
Yep.
Duke was on the ropes.
Yeah.
And so
that was we talk about historic. That was historic too. That was the largest halftime lead that a 16 ever had over a 1. Yeah.
And so, when you kind of look at that, they kind of gritted it out and were able to get a win. In Hubert's defense, and again, you should be able to beat VCU no matter.
Right.
But their best player, Caleb,
was out.
Caleb Wilson, yeah.
But they should still be able to beat VCU without that round. Now, down the road as teams get better.
Yeah.
And I'm not taking anything away from VCU. As you know, VCU has made some Final Four runs in the past.
Yeah.
They've played some very
and
good basketball.
I think they have been surging lately too.
So I'm going to withhold comment about that until VCU gets knocked out. If VCU makes the Final Four, this is a whole different conversation we're having right now. because
we're having. Right?
Yeah,
some UNC folks it'd be the same conversation.
But if VCU makes the final, if they make the final, if they go on a run, they get hot. They knock North Carolina. They got Illinois coming up.
So Illinois crushed to whoever they play.
Right. So let's say they make the Sweet 16.
Right.
Then in my opinion, my noise kind of dims down a little bit.
Yeah.
They make the Elite Eight. It comes on down. They make the Final Four. I'm through talking about Hubert being out because they just ran into a buzzsaw, a hot team.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what makes the tournament so interesting versus the NBA playoffs and stuff. Because any team you can get hot. Hubert
you can win one game. We've talked about this. It's hard to win a series if you're not the better team, but you can win one game.
But see, and that's the thing. Both Duke and Carolina kind of backed into the big tournament. That Duke played okay in the ACC. But,
yeah, they won it.
Yeah, they did. But
in fairly dominant fashion.
I'm trying to see where you're going at with this.
But there were talk about toward the end of the season they were not as
no doubt.
And same thing with Carolina.
Yeah.
So it started to show they're starting to fray at the ends. They're not hot like you want them to be.
I think in both cases injuries to key players made a difference. You don't want to use that as an excuse, but they both lost very key. I thought Duke though was gelling there toward the end, much more so than Carolina, and that's what made. And this is the last thing I'll say about the coaching, or just the team in general under Davis. In that very last little stretch, all the bad habits resurfaced. Taking 3-pointers when they didn't need to. At one point they had a 5-point lead. They had an effective strategy getting the ball into our big man, and then they start taking threes and missing them. We missed 6 free throws down the stretch. It's been one of the worst free throw shooting teams, and that's something you can work on. One time there was an inbounds pass. We didn't make it under the deadline. 5-second rule. You got to get inbounds. So
and all of that.
All of those things. A lot of that would be related to fatigue, I'm sure.
Right, and all of that looks like something on the coach when the team is not hitting free throws and it's like they're not practicing enough.
Right.
You know what? I know we got to move off this topic, so we're going to move off this topic.
He always gives the final say.
No, not on this topic. We didn't follow up on the Oscars from last week.
He's ready to move off the topic after he's had the last word.
I really am moving off this topic. We didn't follow up on the Oscars from last week.
You know he got his little look. See his little fancy shirt he got on.
I like it. Yeah, I like it. I think his wife picked that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's smooth.
It's a nice shirt.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
But clothes don't make the man. In my case, the man make the clothes.
Oh, is that what it is? Right.
The man make the clothes in this case.
Yeah.
So we didn't follow up on the Oscars.
Oh, we did.
Oh, yeah.
My predictions,
So.
right.
Okay.
Most of y'all were wrong, right?
Let's see. I thought I knew I was wrong. I think that's correct.
I was wrong too, though, because I said 3 of 3.
0 for 3.
0 for 3. They went 1 for 3.
That's right. So, which is what we're referring to as the best picture. It was Sinners, just all black cast, all black everything.
Three categories were best actor,
best picture,
and best director.
And so it was up against one battle after another by a very well loved director in Hollywood. So that was one thing going against Michael B. Jordan. But the actor Michael B. Jordan did win best actor. Yeah. From The Wire. Yeah, that was his first. It wasn't his first role, but his first breakout role. A lot of people knew him. He was great in it too. He was just a little kid then.
Yeah, he was a little kid then.
And then one battle after another won Best Picture, and it won Best Director.
Right.
So overall,
you picked what now?
I picked the director that I thought Sinners would win the Best Director.
Right, Ryan Coogler is the director.
You thought they would lose the other two?
Best Picture. No, I didn't think it would win that.
I thought it would win Best Picture. And I thought
you didn't think that director though.
No, I did not think director.
Right.
No, I can't remember what I thought about actor.
So I won that day because I was 2 or 3. I said they would be 0 for 3, and they did.
And they were
win.
0 for 2.
And they went.
I mean, well, they
1 for 2.
Yeah. So they won Best Actor. So,
but
I was good. I was glad
we
for
talked
Michael
about
B. Jordan.
history-making performances of both kinds. Sinners made history in that we had 16 nominations, 4 wins. So it had the most nominations
and the most losses.
Right. So it had 12 losses. So that was a record. And there were several films that were tied at 11. And one of them, of course, was The Color Purple. We all remember that, directed by Spielberg.
I'm okay
all
with that.
black cast.
I'm okay with that losing.
You're not on the school of thought that thinks it's anti-black man.
I didn't
They
know
killed the brothers in Color Purple.
Steven Spielberg.
They killed the brothers in that movie.
Color Purple?
Yeah.
Why did I not know
It was
that?
based on Alice Walker's book.
Yeah, I knew that,
Yeah,
but I didn't know
so.
Spielberg was behind it.
Great movie.
Yeah,
Don't get
I
me-
thought it was a great movie.
Great movie now, but they killed the brothers in that. I can't. There was what, one brother in there that was worth anything.
Pretty solid. Are you talking about the one who played?
Yeah, it wasn't Mister.
It shows.
Who was that that fell through the roof?
Harpo.
Harpo.
No.
Is that what you're talking about?
No, Harpo was soft. The only the only brother they had in there that was worth anything was the one that didn't have any kind of speaking part. It was the guy who hit her sister married. And that you remember, but he didn't really have any speaking.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
Yeah. Her sister ended up marrying that guy. He was okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, they killed the brothers in that.
What a role for Danny Glover, though.
Oh my
He
goodness.
was.
It's a career defining. I mean, I think when I think of Danny Glover, I think of him in that movie. I don't think of Lethal Weapon and all the rest of
really?
them.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Lethal Weapon.
I think of him in that movie, and
I think more of him in that movie.
He
just
was
because
treacherous in that movie.
Yeah,
Danny Glover
he was terrible.
treacherous.
I mean, the character. We're talking about the character.
Yeah. Sorry, Danny. I don't know what kind of person Danny is, but in the movie Color Purple, he was horrible.
Yeah,
he really was. He's a bad guy. This is all around.
It is good to see Michael B. Jordan win a role where he's not playing a villain. He's the hero of the story. And as a matter of fact, he plays two roles. He plays the twin brothers.
Right.
So it's good because a lot, one traditional criticism about even when black actors and actresses are awarded is for a kind of an unflattering role.
Right.
Of course,
The bad guy.
Yeah, the bad guy.
Yeah.
So
Like
it's good
Denzel.
like Denzel in Training Day.
Yeah, but the thing about
and
that-
then Forrest Whitaker won for playing Idi Amin, cannibal dictator.
Or some people would say Halle Berry in Monsters Ball.
Yes, a lot of people would say that very thing, right? Because there was such a sexualized role in some respects,
Right.
Demeaning in some respects too.
and not the best movie in other respects.
But Monster Ball,
It's
not
all
a
right.
bad movie.
It's not bad. It's all right.
It was bad.
You thought it was bad?
I didn't like Monsters
Yeah,
Ball at
yeah.
all. Let me take it back. Not that I thought it was bad. I did not like it. Let's
Yeah.
just put it that way.
This wasn't your
The
cup of
critics
tea.
liked it,
Yeah.
but I just didn't care for that movie at
Yeah,
all.
right.
My other thing, I know we got to leave the movie
Yeah.
and get on to our regular topics, but the other thing is, so your name is Michael Jordan, Michael B. Jordan.
Right.
So his last name apparently was Jordan.
That's correct,
And-
right.
Yeah, and his mother decided to name him Michael.
I guess his dad's name is Michael as well. But it's Michael
that's
A.
not
Jordan.
When you have
Not if my last name is Jordan.
Listen, when you have famous people, that's not unusual for a lot of other folks to name their children after them. That's just common practice.
Not me. I would never, if I had a child, I would never, if my last name was Jordan, I would never name my first name Michael.
So if your last name is James, you wouldn't name him LeBron, a son.
Nah. There'd be no LeBron. There'd be no Michaels and Jordans. That's why he had to put the Michael. That's why he always said Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I
when,
know,
you, say,
I know,
because
yeah.
when you say Michael Jordan, people think they automatically gonna think.
I
of
give him
basketball.
props for doing that because not everybody would take that extra step.
Right.
Well, he didn't have anything to do with it. His mama did.
I'm saying about the B. I'm saying
the B.
no. I mean Michael B. Jordan doing that professionally.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
He can
yeah.
just be Michael Jordan.
Yeah. I mean, that's
That's
just
a way of distinguishing himself. Which is
Yeah.
good.
yeah. It's just difficult.
And he has an Oscar winner, and not only that, he's on the business side of it too. He has a heavy involvement with studio, his own production company.
He directed
So
one of them Creed movies.
He directed
The
one of
last
the
one, I
Creed
think.
and got really good reviews for it too.
Right,
So,
right.
and we all remember him too from Fruitvale Station,
That was a great movie.
that was
Yeah.
a great movie. It's the same director on that movie, Ryan
That's how
Coogler.
they started off together.
They
like
started
that.
off together and
Right,
kind of
right.
stayed together, like
Right.
Spike and Denzel.
Right. Yeah.
So, all right. Next top. One last thing I did want to ask about Hubert Davis. Do y'all think he survives to coach next year?
Depends on who wants the coaching spot. I mean, if you get a big name that's well regarded, well respected, that says I want to go to Carolina,
Yeah.
Hubert's out. He's out.
What about you, Maj?
I think he's going to survive this year. I think he's going to survive. They did go 20-something and 7.
Yeah,
like
like
that.
24 and 7.
They went
They won
24 and 7.
24 games?
Yeah, they won a lot of
Okay.
games this year. But
Only in Carolina with 24 games get you know.
Don't ask me how they won those 24. No, they had Caleb Wilson. That's right. But anyway, go ahead.
But they've got a dynamic recruiting class in a top 5 recruiting class coming. They got some real studs coming in there. So I think
which would be his recruits.
It'd be it'd be Hubert Davis's recruits, and so people are going to wonder how he does.
That doesn't matter because you saw what they did to Matt Doherty's recruits when what's the name when Roy Williams came in.
Matt Doherty didn't have control of the team. I don't think people are saying that about Hubert. They might be saying Hubert can't coach.
Yeah,
you know, he might not know X's and O's. Matt Doherty, those boys didn't. He didn't have control. They didn't pay him any attention.
It was an emergency.
An emergency.
He had to go
immediately. They won the national championship the next year.
That's right. Roy did.
Those were not Roy's boys.
That's right. He was recruited by Doherty, and we all know that Doherty would not have won the championship with him.
No, not with those boys. Roy had their respect. And then
that's the main thing.
If you remember correctly, and I know but if you remember correctly, one of the players said that this was like playing for Roy was like being in prison or something. It was Rashad McCants said that. Yeah. And Roy said, well, you know, he can go play somewhere else.
and see,
and that was that.
Well, and the one thing I would say in defense of Matt Doherty, he didn't have that kind of authority. And the reason why he didn't, because Roy had the backing of the alumni and all the Carolina faithful. I mean, he had it. So we know if Roy says something, they're going to pick him over the player.
Right.
And a lot of times when it's a player against Doherty,
it's not the type of job. I think this was Doherty's. Was this Doherty's first or second job? Head coaching.
Second job.
It's not the type of job that you can come in there without a lot of experience.
He wasn't ready for it.
He
wasn't ready.
Even if you are a pretty good coach.
Yeah.
Roy Williams had already won at Kansas.
Yeah, he hadn't won it, but he made it to the championship a couple times.
He made it to the championship a couple times, and those type of things.
And then coach at that level.
And
then
he was and like the rest of the coaches, he was an alum. So he came in there with a lot more respect than Doherty did. So
I think Doherty also was an alum.
I think
he was on the 82 team.
I think Hubert. Yeah. I think Hubert is going to make it through this year. Mm-hmm. But I think if he had the same. A lack of success
next year, next season.
More vulnerable, you believe?
He'll be more. Yeah, I think that they're going to look at him. He's going to have to hear it all season long. He's going to be very happy to get back to the court next year. Yeah, because there's nothing you can do now at this point. They've already lost. So all summer he's got to hear about
and all rest of the tournament.
All rest of the tournament. He's going to hear Hubert needs.
There's one caveat to that though. There's one caveat today. It really does die down if VCU keeps winning. If VCU makes the Final Four, all except for your hardcore Carolina fans, whoever they are.
Okay, he's pointing at me.
Hardcore Carolina fans. If VCU makes the tournament, me as an outsider is gonna say, "Well, VCU's pretty good then." Yeah, they got hot at the right time, and we know teams can do that in the tournament. Now, if VCU loses to Illinois by 10, 15, 20 points, then it starts to get a little louder. Then,
right. So I told you guys over text. I know you're a Duke guys. You'll be pulling for them, but I'm pulling for Houston going for it because I love to see Robertson County native Kelvin Sampson get him a championship. He hasn't won one yet. He's been to the finals, and they should have won it that
year.
We
still on sports 40 minutes in.
Yeah, but again, it is March Madness. But again, that's as we were talking, you can lose that one game, and then that one game they just didn't have it. So I'd love to see Houston. They're a 2 seed come out and win this thing. So
all right, let's get to the next topic.
Yeah. So the pastor, Mike, you're the one who sent us this story.
Actually, you took us off topic, sir. We were talking about the fact that you throw in the Oscars and then a little more sports after the Oscars.
No, I'm the one who got us back to the sports after the Oscars, but then he took it from there.
So you had a pastor.
Yeah.
Let me get back to the story.
Reverend Dr. Robert.
40 miles from Warren County to Fayetteville. To Raleigh. He's talking about the reparations, the things that we went all the way back to 40 acres and a mule that we were promised as African Americans, the Jim Crow days, and all the things that African Americans have suffered at the hands of the United States as being living here. We need to talk about reparations for all of those things.
His name is Reverend Dr. Robert Turner. He began his 40-mile march for justice at 6:30 a.m. on Tuesday.
And got to Raleigh at 9:30, somewhere around 9:30 p.m.
By midday, Turner had already covered about 20 miles walking along US 1 through Youngsville and toward Wake Forest, holding a sign that reads "Reparations Now." He says, "I'm cold. My feet are exhausted. I've been up since 3 o'clock." He said during a brief start. Now, this was the part that got to me. He said that he had not practiced. He had not practiced. I'm trying to find out where he said that. He
did not
the
train.
42 Baltimore. He acknowledged that he did not train for the grueling distance, but said adrenaline and a deep sense of purpose are carrying him forward. Now, we are all neither one of y'all was as good as athletes as I was, but you were pretty good athletes, both in your own right. And so when you,
well, I was a long distance guy, so
when you
I think there
had
was only one All-American out of the three of us. I don't think it was Nigel Pitts.
yeah, but
I'll just say that.
You weren't as versatile.
I'll just say that.
You weren't as versatile. I played football,
Right. Well, okay.
Well, both of
ran
y'all
track.
were kind of your
Well,
track career was
you could be decent in two sports, or you can be All-American in one sport. I mean,
right. Or another way to look at the situation is that this is the distance, the 40 miles, and so you guys both were known for short distances.
Okay, so
it's
now,
just very fast. Where I was running cross country,
right.
So I would train about 13 miles a day, between 13 and 11 miles a day. So
that's both of those things are all good. But what I started off by saying I was the best athlete. So now if you're looking at what's the best athlete, do you consider a decathlete a better athlete than a basketball player? When you say that? He can run,
overall,
throw,
sure,
right?
yeah.
Because he can
Shot
do what?
put.
More events. More events. That's why I started off by saying I'm the better athlete. I didn't say I was the better cross country runner. Because I'm not, or the better sprinter. I said I was the best athlete.
Oh, so in this family, you're like the Jim Thorpe. Then.
I'm the Jim Thorpe of this
Right.
family.
Okay. Right. All kinds of. All right. Okay.
Or Bruce Jenner before he changed. Both, either one.
He could probably still get out of there. So yeah, he talked about how cold he was at his feet, or his feet got cold. But the protest he mentioned from 1982,
correct,
it was not top of my mind. But as I read about it, I'm reminded of it's black residents in Warren County who they were fighting against the state to place a toxic waste landfill in their county, and it was built. And just like the residents feared, it contaminated the area and them.
Large portions of that section of North Carolina.
Yeah. and so he said that was another reason he was marching. Then he mentioned 1619, which of course is the date when basically the first enslaved people came over here to the what became the United States. Right. So. Where do y'all think this goes from here? I mean, he's made the march. It's made the news.
Well, I think
we applaud his physical effort, but does it make a change?
I don't think he has created the groundswell of support yet that he needs.
It's like a lot of movement.
Yeah, because even on the march itself. It was pretty much a solo type job. I mean, there were people that walked portions of the way with him, but he was the only one that walked the entire distance. And then you even had other folks who were always encouraging him here and there, but he kind of, for a large portion, walked alone. And so you want, when you do stuff like this, you want to make sure, or try to make sure that you have plenty of folks who making this great sacrifice with you, and that gives you a little more oomph,
and then
it could translate into something more,
more
definitive.
Yeah.
And then it always comes down to what's next. So in any movement, people always ask, well, what's next? So now you've done this. Sort of like when I think it was monks that were walking.
So that's the first thing I thought of. Yeah,
they walked cross country and all those type things.
From Texas to here. Up to DC.
Right. They were prepared. They had been preparing for a while to do that walk and those type things. They stayed in people's houses at night, and then they got up in the morning and walked and stuff like that. But again, what's next after that? What does that movement inspire? That's the thing about a lot of movements, whether it be Black Lives Movement, Black Lives Matter, or any movement. What are you trying to inspire? What are you trying to do? How do you know that you have
made progress?
That you've made progress, that you've moved the needle. You think about all the things that happened after George Floyd and all of those Black Lives Matter movements and all of those things. What have we accomplished since then? Now, I'm sure there's been quite a bit, But
But
it's
a lot
not
of
as
that's
much.
been rolled back. I mean,
Right.
a lot of the gains that were made as a result of George Floyd's death, untimely death, a lot of those, diversity expanded.
Yeah.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, expanded after George Floyd, and then
back in those days, Target was making all kinds of big promises.
Right. Even a lot of laws regarding the police and how they conducted themselves, all that. But since then, in just a short 5 years, 6 years since that time, things have taken a reverse course and going back in the other direction now. So it's very disheartening. But I can't remember what movie they were talking about that talked about movements. They said you don't want a movement because movement has it's traveling a distance from point A to point B. What you want is a revolution that keeps continuously feeding itself through, in perpetuity.
And a good example of that would be the civil rights movement / revolution of Dr. King and others, Malcolm X and all them guys during that period of time. We can point to and see what happened. We know Brown versus the Board of Education happened during that time. We know desegregation happened. We can point to something and say, look, this is what that movement, revolution, whatever you want to term it, this is what happened out of that. But see, we have to be able to, and it has to be something more permanent. And again, now the rollbacks we're feeling now is because of one man and one entity. That group has a movement that is a revolution. Trump and the people that are backing him, you can say that is a movement / a revolution.
MAGA?
MAGA.
I'm not so sure about that.
Well,
they have inspired change.
Well,
I think they have, but I think you have more of a. They're often compared to a cult, and there are a lot of aspects related to that. They're just the most simple and basic ones. They just believe anything that Trump says, or they believe him over. They believe him over the rest of the world on every subject.
No doubt.
So, but that the way most cults end is that when the cult leader passes away. So when Trump, like all of us, we all will take that journey over to the next side. When that happens, I don't know that MAGA outlives that. Now, I think some of the...
I've run into...
Go ahead, Marshall.
I'm sure we've all run into what I would consider good Christian folk. And some of them say, I try to love everybody and I try to be the best Christian I can, but if something happened to that man, I'm gonna be shouting in the streets. And I said, you can't do that. You can't wish them bad.
There will be celebrations. I won't participate because to me, it's I'm not his judge, and I just think you should always have respect for when someone passes. I'd love to see him be impeached and removed or something along those lines. We know that's not going to happen with the GOP. And honestly, I'm not sure what happened with the Democrats out there. So it's really just a matter, it's prayer time, as we've heard that expression, because there's not a lot we can do
and the other
at
thing,
this point.
Yeah, and the other thing we talked about, we were asking about whether this was going to have any impact.
Whether what was going to have any impact?
The walk, the 40-mile walk down the road. So, Marcia, I think you said it, and Myron, you did too. I mean, are we going to be talking about this a month from now? Will someone even remember about the walk a month from now?
What made me remember the monks was us talking about this.
Correct.
Right. So the thing is, they've started to do some research on.
So we need an action a month. Basically.
Research on the protests, and they're starting to get evidence that protests in the traditional way, like they did in the civil rights in Vietnam, and which we see a lot of that today. These same type protests, thousands of people.
No Kings.
The No Kings March, the March on Wall Street. They're camping out. They just don't seem to be as effective for whatever reason.
Because behind those, the reason is though, MP1 is that they don't have it doesn't appear from the outside, because I'm not involved in the march, so I don't want to.
Why aren't you protesting sometime?
I'm not a protesting type guy. That's why I'm not a protesting type guy. So that's a
Yeah, we
younger
go
brother.
protest all the time.
Million Man March. You went to the Million Man March.
And,
Yeah.
which
What?
would
95?
You want it done?
Which
You
would,
want it
yes,
done.
which would be the last protest I've been to.
That was a good one, though.
And that was a good one. But there are no. If you read even at the Million Man March, they talked about the 10 things or whatever, how many things they wanted to come out of this march.
Right.
So with any movement, and you named several of them, you got to have something. What's the next step?
Right.
So now we're out here protesting. But what is the next step past?
That is a difference. You're right.
What is the next step?
A lot of these
When
protests.
King was marching, they had a vision behind what they wanted to happen.
Yeah, well, they wanted
to
to get the laws changed.
They wanted to get laws changed.
Right.
They wanted
Right.
to desegregate, buildings and public spaces.
Yeah.
They wanted to get Brown versus Board. They wanted all of those
Yeah.
things to happen,
Yeah.
and so those things happen because
Yeah.
they. But right now, I can't tell you what we believe that could happen or should happen because a lot
Yeah.
of the movements. Now, it's one thing to get out there and protest, but you got to have something else behind it because what most lawmakers know is that after the protest, then people go back to their own corners.
Yeah.
And then that's it for that.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I just wanted to clarify on Brown. Brown had passed, but by then that passed in the 50s. But they were trying to get the South to live up to Brown.
Correct.
Right?
Which they weren't doing at
right,
that
which
time.
they weren't doing, and they got, of course, the Voting Rights Act and the Civil Rights Act. But one thing, all the progress they made, it did leave in its wake a much more complex situation for current activists. Because a lot of the racism and discrimination that had been formalized in Jim Crow,
laws, right?
it just went underground. There's many ways to discriminate against people, and as black people growing up in America, we felt just about them all. There's redlining, which we talked about on this show. Black customer, black person seeking a loan, white person seeking a loan. Very similar profile, even identical. White person gets the loan, black person doesn't, and it's a kind of a way they used to keep neighborhoods segregated.
Right.
Not kind of a way; it was a way
yes.
they did. So you have some and that's why I believe that one of the reasons
There's so many
that
ways.
King was moving his message more towards the economic piece because he saw until the economics are right. we're never going to have justice.
Right.
And a lot of people
that
say that's why
reigns
he's
true-
assassinated,
That
too.
reigns true
I
today.
know.
Until you get the economics right, you just kind of spitting in the wind a little bit. You really are. And he understood that, and that made him
In this country in particular,
in this
right.
country particularly, and that made him more dangerous and more of a threat. So you saw what happened after that.
He was actually in Tennessee for.
You guys sound like conspiracy theorists.
Well, he was actually in Tennessee because of the sanitary workers.
That's
Yes.
right. Strike.
Strike. And so he was supporting, which was an economic thing. He felt that everyone, if you collecting people who collect garbage, trash,
Yeah.
sanitation workers, they should all be paid the same thing. Why would you be paying one person, group of people this for exactly the same job?
Yeah.
And so, I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but I am going. In this case, it's funny how he had done all of that other stuff, and then all of a sudden, this was the time when he got assassinated, and he also was talking a lot about the unequalness of Vietnam, going to Vietnam, and all of those things. So. And why would we be over there and fighting in Vietnam? All of those things. Then that's the time he gets assassinated by a lone assassin.
Yeah, I don't think anyone in this studio, unless maybe Tammy does, buy the theory of the lone assassin.
Right.
And I'm sure she doesn't because she's righteous.
Listen, there's no way. There's no way. Again, there is a way, but I just can't believe that Kennedy, King, X could be killed in almost the same time frame.
Two Kennedys.
Two Kennedys,
Yeah.
King and X, who could get killed all in the same, 4 or 5 year period, and it not be connected.
Just a bad time for national leaders.
Yeah, it's very suspicious.
And one of those things that one of the things that all 4 of them had in common was the equality of people. Mm-hmm. Economic equality of people being able to be treated same. That's the only thing they really that they had in common. If you think about it. And then all 4 of them get assassinated.
They had that in common, and they were also all they were revolutionary figures.
Right.
Just what Marshall was talking about.
Right.
They were the kind of people that could have gotten the DNA of the country and changed everything. So anyway, we digress. We digress. So another topic that we were going to try to squeeze in here was about the Georgia woman, 31 years old. As we know, the historic Roe versus Wade decision protecting women's access to abortion was overturned by conservative Supreme Court after several Trump picks. But anyway, in Georgia was among states that toughened their abortion laws. North Carolina did too, but not as extreme as some of the other states, concentrated in the Deep South. But Georgia basically put a ban on just about every kind of abortion, and then added, as we don't have here in North Carolina, a charge. You could be charged with murder. Mm-hmm. And so the first woman, African-American woman, Alexia Moore, she has been charged with murder. She took abortion pills.
So is that like a morning after pill?
According to the charges. Remember, these are just charges. And so the arrest warrant for her, it used language that's very similar to the law. They kind of kept to the wording of the law. It said she had been pregnant beyond 6 weeks, and that was based on the medical staff's knowledge that the baby had a beating heart and was struggling to breathe. So, of course, she does have her advocates who say this is extreme. And this, at one time, fellas, would have been considered as extreme. Mm-hmm. Like, even some very strong pro-life groups and organizations didn't think the mother should be charged with murder in a case like this, or even the doctor. So it seems like this is a sea change.
Do you guys think the young lady's race played a factor in her being charged with murder?
You say that facetiously, right?
No, I'm just asking. What do you think?
Yes, I do. We both know. I think at this point we can agree that this is not the first abortion that they've had in Georgia since they changed the law, and not the first lady. Who has used the morning after pill to terminate a pregnancy.
Right.
Well, I'm fairly confident of that.
So I could not agree harder.
So why this lady? Is the only question. Why this lady? Why did they decide to pick this lady as the poster child for this? So now my question though, Myron, is they found all this out because of what?
Can I add one more thing to what you were saying? In the pro-life movement, one of the techniques they try to expand their movement is to tell black people, hey, some of the biggest, statistically, a lot of the abortions are done by black women. So, these people are aborting your race. Right. So that's your own race. So that's their appeal. So I bring that up to say that movement knows that there is a percentage of black women who are having abortions, who could, and so they know that there's potential they could be criminalized for that, because they also might not have the means.
Right. Correct.
Right. Exactly. So that was all very, very interesting.
How
to me.
did they find all of this out? I guess is what I'm. Yeah. I guess at some point the lady must have had to go to the hospital or something.
That's what I'm thinking.
Because of the pill, that had some adverse effects.
Court records say she arrived at a hospital. This is December 30th. She was having a lot of abdominal pain. And she told medical workers that she had taken this drug. She didn't try to hide it. She says a drug used in medication abortions, and she was also was on the opioid painkiller oxycodone, which is its own, whole different thing there. Right. So according to an arrest warrant, this is all according to arrest warrant, and it's just the town is called Kingsland. It's about 100 miles south of Savannah. So you guys are Georgia natives. Maybe y'all have heard of this town. I'm sure our parents have. Right. The fetus survived for about an hour after being delivered to the hospital, the warrant says. Then the police investigator obtaining the warrant wrote that Moore told the nursing staff, quote, I'm not even quoting.